She was dismissed the moment she stepped onto the shooting range because she wore a white linen shirt and carried a scorched M24 rifle. Here to polish the commander's medals, a sniper smirked. The cousin she once raised like a sister now smirked, threw herself to the ground, and accused her of assault right in front of 2 approaching officers, until she loaded her rifle, took aim at a 1,000-meter target, and fired 10 shots, dead center, without a single miss, and silenced the entire range. The Silverwood Elite Range stretched across a sunlit valley in Virginia, its fields framed by dry hills and the faint hum of military precision, reserved for the military's upper echelon medalists, generals, and their kin. It was a sanctuary where power was measured in rank and marksmanship. That afternoon, the mild sun cast long shadows, and a dry wind stirred the grass. The range was quiet, its 1,000-meter targets gleaming in the distance, reserved for those with proven valor or lineage. Clara Vale, 31, arrived early, seeking solitude to practice. Her white linen shirt was loose, tucked into light khaki pants. Her canvas shoes faded from years of use. Her M24 sniper rifle, its stock patched with scorched fabric, hung over her shoulder, its barrel worn but meticulously maintained. Her face was striking high cheekbones, pale skin, but her hazel eyes carried a quiet weight, as if they'd seen battles no one spoke of. She moved with purpose, her steps soft on the gravel path, her presence unnoticed by the handful of shooters and spectators gathered near the main platform. The range was a stage for the elite. Eliza Vale, Clara's 26-year-old cousin, stood out in a black military-style jumpsuit, her hair braided tightly, her new CZ sniper rifle gleaming in her hands, raised in the same household. Eliza played the role of the underdog, the small girl in a man's world, her charm masking a venomous ambition. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, followed Clara's approach, her lips curling into a faint smirk. Nearby, a group of officers' wives sipped iced tea, their designer sunglasses glinting, their voices dripping with judgment. A retired colonel, his chest heavy with medals, adjusted his cap, muttering to a young lieutenant, "Who's that with the thrift store rifle? Lost a bet to get in here?" The lieutenant chuckled, his eyes raking over Clara's shirt, her shoes, her patched M24, probably the commander's secretary. "Playing dress-up," he said, loud enough for the platform to hear. The wives laughed, one in a silk scarf calling out, "Sweetheart, the civilian range is down the road." Clara set her rifle on a bench, her hands steady, her face calm, the mockery sliding off her like rain. As Clara set her rifle on the bench, a group of elite snipers' wives, their manicured nails clutching designer bags, amplified the scorn. A woman in a cashmere shawl, her earrings glinting, leaned toward her friend, her voice loud enough to carry, "Look at that rifle, did she dig it out of a scrap heap? This range is for warriors, not charity cases." Her companion, a brunette in a tailored blazer, laughed sharply. "Bet she's here to beg for Gavin's attention. Those pants scream, 'Discount rack.'" The group's laughter drew nods from nearby officers, their eyes fixed on Clara's faded canvas shoes, as if her presence insulted their polished aesthetic. A young sniper, his beret tilted, joined in, shouting, "Hey, lady, the PX sells better gear than that." The wives raised their phones, snapping photos of Clara's scorched M24, their jeers a performance for the live stream feeds. Clara's hands remained steady, her scope adjustments precise, but the crowd's disdain was a rising storm, each taunt a calculated jab at her simplicity. The platform felt like a gauntlet, the air thick with their contempt, yet she stood calm, her silence a stark contrast to their cruelty, her focus unshaken by their venom. Eliza approached, her CZ rifle slung casually, her smile a blade. "Still using that old thing," she said, placing a light hand on Clara's M24, her voice soft but venomous. "I didn't think you'd dare hold a gun again after being kicked off the competition team." when Eliza placed her hand on Clara's rifle. Her venomous words were punctuated by a new wave of mockery from a retired major nearby, his voice booming across the platform. "That's the commander's wife. She looks like she's here to clean the range, not shoot it." His aide, a wiry lieutenant with a smug grin, chimed in. "Bet that rifle's just for show. Probably hasn't fired a round since basic training." The crowd's laughter grew bolder, their eyes glinting with amusement. A female sniper, her hair cropped short, called out, "Why's she even here? Silverwood's for real shooters, not housewives playing pretend." The major pointed at Clara's scorched M24, his grin cruel. "What's that patch burned at cooking dinner?" The officers' wives joined in, their iced tea sloshing as they laughed. One shouting, "She's embarrassing Gavin with that junk." The platform's energy was hostile, each jab a strike at Clara's quiet presence. Her fingers tightened on her scope, her face betraying nothing. But the crowd's scorn was a relentless wave. Pressing against her calm exterior, the range's cruelty was a public execution of her dignity. Yet she didn't flinch, her silence a shield against their hate. Clara adjusted her scope, her silence a wall. Eliza leaned closer, her gaze sharp. "You know, everyone pities you at home, but here, you're just a wife riding Gavin's rank. And even your husband, does he really love you? Or is he just grateful you saved his life?" The words were poison, each one a calculated strike. "When you were gone, I was the one taking care of him. He loves me, not you." Clara's fingers tightened on her rifle, her knuckles whitening, but her face betrayed nothing. Eliza stepped closer, her voice a whisper. "If I were you, I'd quit now. Know when to back off before everyone sees how useless you really are." The range's quiet amplified her words, the wind carrying them like a curse. Clara's eyes flicked to the target, 1,000 meters away, her silence a shield against Eliza's venom. The platform stirred as two male officers approached, their uniforms crisp, their ranks evident in their stride. Eliza's eyes darted to them, her expression shifting to vulnerability. She lunged toward Clara, brushing her shoulder hard, then threw herself backward, falling dramatically to the ground. "Ah, don't do that," she screamed, her voice trembling. The officers rushed over, their faces stern. Eliza sat up, her eyes teary, her hands shaking. "I only asked her about shooting posture. She snapped and shoved me. I don't understand why." As Eliza threw herself to the ground, her dramatic fall was amplified by a calculated move from a range official, a stern woman in a pressed uniform, who rushed to Clara's side. "This is unacceptable," she barked, her voice loud enough for the platform to hear, shoving a fellow shooter. "We have standards here." The crowd's murmurs turned to jeers, their phones raised to capture Clara's supposed aggression. A male sniper, his tattoos visible under his sleeves, shouted, "Get her out! She's a disgrace to the range." The official pointed at Clara's M24, her tone dripping with disdain. "You think you can intimidate with that relic Silverwoods for disciplined shooters, not bullies." The wives' laughter was sharp, one in a pearl necklace calling out, "She's probably jealous of Eliza's skill." The young sniper tossed another pebble, its clatter a taunt near Clara's feet. The live stream feeds buzzed with accusations. "Bully, kick her out." Clara stood still, her rifle on the bench, but the crowd's hostility was a storm, each lie a strike at her quiet resolve. The range's deceit was suffocating, yet she remained calm, her silence a defiance against their orchestrated betrayal. Clara opened her mouth, but the senior officer raised a hand. "I saw it," he said, his tone final. "She still has her hand on the rifle." The younger officer, a captain, shook his head. "Bullying a weaker woman. Silverwood doesn't tolerate that kind of aggression." The colonel nearby nodded, his metals clinking. "Temporarily suspend her range access," he suggested. "Review camera footage later." When the officers suggested suspending Clara's access, the crowd's scorn turned vicious, their taunts a feeding frenzy. A group of junior officers, their uniforms pristine, gathered near the platform, one shouting, She's got no place here. That rifle's a museum piece. And she's a fraud, his friend. A lieutenant with a buzz cut. Laughed loudly. Bet she's never shot past 500 meters. Why's Gavin wasting his rank on her? The wives' voices joined in. One in a velvet hat calling out. She's making a mockery of Silverwood go home. Housewife, the range official, now joined by a security guard, muttered, "We should have checked her credentials. She's turning this into a circus." The live stream feeds lit up with cruel hashtags, hashtag fake shooter, hashtag Clara fail. A female sniper leaned toward the colonel, her voice cutting. She's probably here to beg for attention. That shirt's an insult to the uniform. Clara packed her rifle case, her hands steady. But the barrage of insults was a relentless tide, crashing over her quiet presence. The range's hostility was a living thing, each lie a jab at her simplicity. Yet she moved with precision, her focus a fortress against their venom. The wives whispered, their iced tea forgotten, their eyes glinting with satisfaction. Clara stood still, her rifle resting on the bench, her voice silenced by their judgment. No one asked what had happened before that moment. The range's disdain grew bolder, the crowd feeding off Eliza's performance. A young sniper, his beret tilted, leaned toward his friend, his voice loud. "She's got no business here with that junkyard rifle. Bet she's never hit a target past 200 meters. His friend laughed, snapping a photo of Clara's khaki pants, the scorched patch on her M24. "Look at her, playing soldier. This is a general's range, not a hobby club." The wives joined in, one in a pearl necklace calling out, "If she's the commander's wife, she should at least dress the part. That shirt's an embarrassment." The colonel muttered to the lieutenant, "Gavin must have married her for pity. No way she's earned her place here." The platform's laughter was a chorus, each jab a strike at Clara's quiet dignity. She adjusted her scope, her hands steady. But the crowd's scorn was a rising tide, pressing against her silence. The range felt smaller, the air thick with their contempt. Yet she moved with purpose, her focus on the distant target, her calm a stark contrast to their cruelty. As Clara prepared to leave, her range access suspended, the crowd's mockery turned vicious. A female officer, her insignia gleaming, leaned toward the wives, her voice cutting. "She's probably here to impress Gavin. But that rifle's a joke. Bet it jams on the first shot." The wives laughed, one in a velvet hat shouting, "Go back to the kitchen. Honey, leave the guns to the real soldiers." The young sniper tossed a pebble toward Clara's bench, its clatter a taunt. "Bet she's crying under that calm act," he said, his grin wide. Eliza, now seated on a bench, her tears dry, smirked faintly, her CZ rifle propped beside her. The lieutenant called out, "Silverwood's for warriors, not wannabes. Take your toy gun and go." The crowd's jeers echoed off the hills, their phones raised to capture Clara's humiliation, the live stream feeds buzzing with cruel comments. Clara's canvas shoes scuffed the gravel as she packed her rifle, her face unreadable. But the barrage of insults was a storm, each word a dagger aimed at her simplicity. The range's hostility was suffocating, yet she didn't flinch, her silence a quiet rebellion against their hate. As Clara prepared to leave, the crowd's mockery grew personal, their lies targeting her very identity. A retired admiral, his voice gravelly, leaned toward the major, his words booming. "This is a disgrace to the military. That khaki getup, she's no sniper, just a civilian leeching off Gavin's name." The crowd roared, their laughter a jagged edge. A young sniper's wife, her lipstick bright, shouted, "She's no soldier, just a pity case with a burned rifle." The security guard, his radio crackling, smirked and called out, "Bet she's faking that calm act. She'll cry when she's banned." The live stream feeds exploded with mocking emojis, the military elite reveling in the spectacle. The female sniper tossed a crumpled range pass toward Clara's bench, its flutter a taunt. "Go back to knitting." "Sweetheart," she jeered. Eliza's faint smirk was visible, her jumpsuit pristine, her role as the victim fueling the crowd's scorn. Clara's canvas shoes scuffed the gravel, her rifle case in hand, but the crowd's cruelty was a net, wrapping around her quiet dignity. The range's deceit was a wall, pressing against her from all sides. Yet she stood resolute, her silence a rebellion against their hate. A low rumble broke the tension. The sound of a military-grade armored SUV pulling up to the gate. Gavin Callahan, Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. military, stepped out, his uniform stark, his presence a force that stilled the range. His eyes, ice cold, swept past Eliza, still shaking on the bench, and landed on Clara, standing calm, her hand resting on the scorched M24. The crowd froze, their laughter dying like a snuffed flame. Gavin asked no questions. He pulled a military tablet from his coat, accessed security camera number 11, and played the footage on the range's large outdoor screen. The clip was clear. Eliza lunging toward Clara, brushing her shoulder, then throwing herself backward, her fall a calculated act. When Gavin played the footage exposing Eliza's lie, the crowd's silence was a reckoning, their earlier accusations a bitter echo. The junior officers, who'd called Clara a fraud, stood frozen, their uniforms creased, their phones lowered. The retired admiral, his voice now silent, whispered to the major, We were wrong. She's no civilian, the range official. Her pressed uniform now a liability. Backed away. Her earlier accusations, a regret. Gavin's voice was a blade, his authority absolute. Clara trained the best snipers in this military. You dared to judge her by her shirt, the wives' iced tea spilled, their designer bags forgotten, their laughter replaced by shame. The live stream feeds shifted, the military elite now praising Clara's name. Their scorn turned to awe. Clara stood calm, her M24 at her side. Her talent, a quiet force that dismantled their arrogance. The audience cheered her vindication. Gavin's power a shield, her skill a rebuke to the lies that had tried to break her. The range went dead silent, the wind the only sound, carrying the weight of the truth. The officers' faces paled, their accusations exposed. Eliza's hands trembled, her CZ rifle forgotten, her victim act shattered. The wives lowered their phones, their iced tea warm, their earlier jeers a bitter memory. Clara stood still, her rifle case at her side, her silence a verdict. Gavin walked forward, his boots heavy on the gravel, his eyes locked on Eliza. I've known what you want for a long time, he said, his voice cold, each word a blade. And I know exactly who taught you to shoot. Clara did. Without her, you wouldn't hit a target at 10 meters. He turned to the officers, their uniforms no shield against his gaze. The woman you just tried to suspend. She trained my entire special ops unit for 5 years in long-range reflex shooting. And you believe someone like her would push a girl who can't even aim straight at 50 meters? As Gavin confronted Eliza, the platform's elite grappled with their shame, their faces pale under the Virginia sun. The female sniper, who'd tossed the crumpled pass, whispered to her friend, We called her a housewife, and she's a legend. Her voice trembled, her earlier taunt a stain. The young sniper, his beret now in hand, muttered, I threw a pebble at her, and she's trained special ops. The colonel approached Gavin, his metals dull, his voice low. We failed her. Sir, she's the standard. Gavin's eyes were ice, his words a verdict. Clara's shots saved lives, mine included. You judged her by her rifle's patch, not her precision. The live stream feeds buzzed with Clara's name, the military elite rewriting their narrative, her talent a beacon that exposed their deceit. Clara's linen shirt caught the breeze, her M24 a testament to her skill, her silence a quiet command. The audience felt a surge of triumph. Gavin's authority a hammer, Clara's mastery a slap to every doubter, her truth a victory over their cruelty. The colonel sank back, his metals dull, His authority diminished. The lieutenant's face reddened. His earlier judgment, a mistake he couldn't erase. Eliza's braid seemed to tighten. Her jumpsuit a costume that no longer fit. The crowd's silence was a surrender. Their mockery, a stain they couldn't wash away. Clara's linen shirt caught the breeze. Her M24 a symbol of her skill. Her presence a quiet command. The officers who'd condemned Clara stood frozen, their faces a gallery of shame. The female officer, her insignia now a liability, whispered, We didn't know." The young sniper, his beret askew, muttered, She's that Clara." The retired general leaned on his cane, his voice low. "We judged her by her shirt, not her skill. We were fools." Gavin's gaze swept the platform, his words a hammer. "Clara doesn't need your approval. She never did." The live stream feeds shifted, the military elite now praising her name, their scorn replaced by awe. Clara's silence had been her strength, honed in the deserts where she'd saved Gavin's life, not as his wife, but as his sniper. Her shot taking out an enemy at 1,200 meters, the scar on her shoulder, hidden under her linen shirt, was a reminder of that day. A wound that had ended her competition career, but not her skill. The crowd's earlier hashtags faded, replaced by hashtag Clara Vale, hashtag Silverwood Legend. The audience felt a surge of satisfaction. Gavin's authority a shield, Clara's vindication a slap to every doubter. Her truth, a victory over their cruelty. Gavin stepped closer to Clara, his voice steady. "Clara, shoot. 10 rounds. No need to prove anything, just to remind them who's holding the rifle." The crowd stirred, their eyes fixed on her. Clara said nothing. She stood, no tears in her eyes. Her shoulders steady, she opened her rifle case, her movements precise, and loaded the M24. Its scorched patch a badge of her resilience. The 1,000-meter target gleamed in the distance, a challenge few could meet. She took a deep breath, her hazel eyes narrowing, and fired 10 shots, each one a thunderclap, each one dead center, not a fraction of a millimeter off. When Clara fired her 10 perfect shots, the crowd's silence was a surrender. Their earlier mockery, a bitter memory. The young sniper's wife, her lipstick faded, stood, her eyes wide, and whispered, "She hit every one, at 1,000 meters." Her friend nodded, her pearl necklace dull, her earlier jeer a regret. The retired general, his cane steady, spoke softly to the colonel. "We celebrated Eliza, but Clara's the soul of this range. We were blind." The junior officers' phones went dark, their hashtags replaced by apologies, their earlier scorn a shame. Gavin's voice cut through the quiet, his tone unyielding. "Clara doesn't shoot to impress. She shoots to remind you what this range was built for." The livestream feeds hailed her as a legend, the military elite humbled, her 10 bullseyes a symbol of her unbreakable will. Clara's canvas shoes were steady, her M24 a badge of her resilience, her talent a light that exposed the platform's darkness. The audience reveled in her triumph. Gavin's power a foundation, her shots a final blow to the lies that had tried to erase her. The range's silence was absolute. The crowd's breath held, their earlier mockery a distant memory. The young sniper's phone fell, his photo unsent, his earlier pebble toss a regret. The wives' iced tea spilled, their sunglasses forgotten, their laughter silenced. Eliza's head bowed, her CZ rifle a prop, her ambition exposed as a hollow dream. Clara's 10 shots were a verdict, her skill a rebuke to their arrogance, and the audience cheered her triumph, a validation of her silent power. The screen replayed Clara's shots in slow motion, each bullet a perfect strike, a testament to the woman who'd trained in silence after her injury. She'd been 25, leading Gavin's unit in a classified op, her M24 steady as she took the shot that saved him. The enemy's counterfire had torn through her shoulder, ending her competitive dreams. But she'd rebuilt herself. Her rifle, her companion, her skill, her defiance. The military elite had whispered about her retirement. Their pity a mask for their relief. She'd been too good. A threat to their egos. Eliza had watched. Her jealousy festering. Her childhood crush on Gavin twisting into a vendetta against Clara. The crowd now saw the truth. Their earlier hashtags a mistake. Their scorn a lesson. The colonel approached Clara, his metals clinking, his voice low. I misjudged you, he said. His eyes wet. Clara nodded, her face calm, her words gentle but firm. You misjudged the range. She said, it's for skill, not rank. The audience reveled in her vindication. Her talent a light that exposed the platform's darkness. Gavin's voice cut through the silence. His tone, final. The woman I married doesn't need to explain herself. She just has to shoot and the world shuts up. He turned to Eliza. His eyes like steel. You're banned from Silverwood. Effective immediately. Your rifle stays here. Eliza's hands shook. Her jumpsuit limp. Her tears real now. Her shame a weight she couldn't escape. The officers who'd condemned Clara were ordered to report for disciplinary review. Their ranks no shield against their error. The wives gathered their things, their iced tea warm, their earlier laughter a bitter memory. The young sniper and his friend slipped away, their berets low, their earlier pebbles a childish mistake. The retired general stood, his cane steady, and saluted Clara, a rare gesture from a man who'd seen war. The live stream feeds hailed her as a legend. The military elite humbled, and the audience cheered her resilience. Her perfect shots a final blow to the lies that had tried to break her. As Gavin banned Eliza, the range's elite stood humbled, their arrogance a memory. The range official, who'd accused Clara of bullying, gathered her clipboard, her face pale, and whispered, We betrayed the range's honor. The female sniper approached the colonel, her voice low. We need to honor Clara. She's the future. The young sniper, his beret now a reminder of his shame, packed his gear. His earlier pebble toss a lesson, Arpashat. Eliza's ban was a death knell. Her career erased. Her deception, a stain that would follow her forever. The live stream feeds spread Clara's story. The military elite bowing to her legacy. Her 10 shots a promise of a new standard. Gavin's authority was absolute. His defense of Clara a beacon for the range. Clara's khaki pants caught the light. Her M24 a symbol of her endurance. Her silence a verdict. The audience felt a rush of triumph. Gavin's power a shield. Clara's talent a legacy that would outlast the platform's fallen lies. Clara walked past Eliza, her canvas shoes soft on the gravel, her M24 slung over her shoulder. Eliza's head remained bowed, her braid unraveling, her CZ rifle confiscated, her dreams of Gavin and glory shattered. Clara didn't stop, her linen shirt catching the breeze, her khaki pants a symbol of her grounded strength. Gavin followed, his boots steady, his presence a quiet promise. The range was hers. Not just in ownership, Gavin had built it for her, but in spirit. A place where skill trumped rank, where truth outshot lies. The crowd dispersed, their voices low, their egos checked. The female officer's insignia dulled, her earlier taunt a regret. The colonel's salute lingered, his respect a belated gift. The platform emptied, the sun dipping low, the hills stretching endless before them. Days later, the range's elite whispered Clara's name in hushed tones. Their feeds filled with her story. Their power diminished. The wives avoided Silverwood. Their gossip a cautionary tale. Their influence gone. The junior officers faced retraining. Their misjudgment a lesson etched in military records. The retired admiral wrote a formal apology, published in the range's newsletter. His respect a belated gift. Clara's 10 shots had reshaped Silverwood, her legacy a beacon for true shooters, not rank holders. the range's new rules, set by Gavin, banned favoritism and deceit, ensuring skill would reign. The live stream feeds crowned Clara a legend, her M24 a symbol of resilience, her silence a power that spoke louder than their lies. Gavin's text to Clara that night was simple: "You shot through their world. It's yours now." The audience cheered her legacy. Gavin's authority a foundation. Clara's talent a triumph that would echo through the hills. A promise that truth would always outshoot deception. Clara's shoulder ached faintly, the scar a reminder of her sacrifice. But her heart was steady. Her victory in the silence, in the shots, in the truth. The Silverwood Elite Range stood quiet, its fields empty, its targets marked by Clara's precision. Eliza's ban was final, her career a footnote, her deception a stain she'd never erase. The officers faced demotions, their misjudgment a lesson for the military elite. The wives avoided Silverwood, their influence waning, their gossip a cautionary tale. The range became a beacon for true shooters, inspired by the woman who'd fired 10 perfect shots and walked away. Clara's legacy was in the silence, in the rifle, in the love she and Gavin shared. Unspoken but unbreakable, the wind carried the scent of gunpowder, the hills a canvas for her triumph. And she walked on, her husband at her side, their steps a promise that skill would always outshine rank. She never needed to prove herself. She just had to pull the trigger. If this story left you breathless, share, comment your favorite part. And don't forget to subscribe. More true power, more silent revenge, more Clara, coming next.